Legend of Exorcism. Chapter 69. Year-End Reunion. The 9-story tower was silent, as the painters had all left the Majao caves. It was the end of the year, and they had all gotten onto caravans, heading towards Hexi, where the boarders were, to return home to celebrate the new year. In the evening, Li Jinglong was still the first one to wake up. Hung Jun was still sleeping very soundly, unconsciously hugging Li Jinglong. Outside, footsteps sounded, and Emorigin hurried in, making a gesture at Li Jinglong. Li Jinglong squinted, and, understanding that there was an urgent matter, rose quietly. "How is he?" Emorigin asked in a small voice. "When he wakes, I'll talk with him some more," Li Jinglong replied. "What's going on?" "The Ghost King's leaving," Emorigin replied. Li Jinglong swiftly walked out of the 9-story tower. The Ghost King and his personal guards were waiting outside the door, and now they bid him farewell. "There are still matters I have yet to consult you on. If I could trouble you to stay a few more days," Li Jinglong said hurriedly. But the Ghost King seemed to already have guessed at what Li Jinglong wanted to ask, and he replied, "I do not know what that phoenix in Yaojin Palace has planned, but I imagine that the heart lamp being in your body is no coincidence." Li Jinglong. The Ghost King pressed one hand on Li Jinglong's shoulder, saying, "Xiaoyu is not yet dead, and I have not yet avenged Lu Fei, but whether or not Mara will be reborn is unknown." Li Jinglong seemed to sense a thread of hope, and he asked, "That devil seed in Hung Jun's body, it can be suppressed?" The Ghost King shrugged and replied, "This question is one I cannot answer for you." Li Jinglong fell thoughtfully silent for a moment. The Ghost King continued, "Humans and Yao will have to take their separate routes in the end, and with my status, I have no way to provide you with much help. But you and I can have a temporary exchange." Raising his gaze, Li Jinglong looked at the Ghost King, who replied, "This time, the corpse ghosts that fell in battle brought about suffering in the human realm, and though it can be said that they were controlled by the White Deer's heart devil, Lu Fei and I are unable to escape the blame." Li Jinglong replied, "The blame lies with Xiaoyu, not on you too. But when you return to the humans' imperial court, how will you explain?" the Ghost King said. "Will the commanders of the borders, charged with protecting the human realm, simply ignore 200,000 corpse ghosts asleep in Yadan?" Li Jinglong thought for a moment, before replying, "Lu Fei has already died, he has already atoned for his crimes." The Ghost King nodded, and Li Jinglong continued, "As for Yadan, I have my ways. I can promise that there will be no humans coming to disturb your sleep. His Majesty once promised that he would grant me a fiefdom, and I will choose Yadan. I'll ask Hung Jun's uncle to remain as the commander of Yumen Pass, so naturally, no humans will come again." With that, the Ghost King said, "You should keep this." The Ghost King handed Li Jinglong a rusted piece of metal armor and said, "As for this feud with Xiaoyu, I will support you with all my might. Aside from this, you can also request for the assistance of my entire army once, to help you fight a battle." Li Jinglong took the armor and hurried to cup his fist and thank him. The Ghost King didn't say any more, instead mounting his horse and leaving, vanishing with his personal guards into the sunset. Li Jinglong went back into the 9-story tower. Everyone had woken on their own, and now they each yawned. Sweeping his gaze over the assembled people, he said, "The group's actually all assembled now, just like this." Even he himself was a little taken aback. Chu Yongxi leaned lazily against the couch he was on, saying, "It's the new year, and here I am, rushing over to help you brothers fight. You think it was easy for me?" Li Jinglong remembered that today was already the close of the year, and he said, "All right, let's not worry over other matters for now. Let's start cooking and celebrate the new year." Atai began to chuckle and said, "Last time I celebrated your new year was 5 years ago. Is there wine?" Li Jinglong had long since made the arrangements, and now he began to dole out duties for each of them. Right then, Lu Su arrived, and everyone turned to look at him. Lu Su looked at Li Jinglong apprehensively. Origin patted the space by his side, gesturing for him to sit down there. "He's fine," Lu Su replied, because he knew, upon seeing Li Jinglong, that he wanted to ask about Hung Jun. "If you have anything to say, you'd best ask him directly, it's better than asking me." With that, Li Jinglong nodded and said, "I'm going to go slaughter a chicken. Wake Hung Jun up later, let him sleep a little more." For a time, the members of the exorcism department busied themselves. Atai went to go find Ashinakayang and some flour, preparing to make a meal for New Year's Eve so that they could have some food on their plates and fill themselves up. Origin sat with Lu Su in the yard, peeling chestnuts, preparing to make chicken stewed with chestnuts. Li Jinglong went to kill a chicken, while Qiu Yongxi and the Carpiao were in charge of gathering up some bowls and chopsticks. How come a group of us big strong men ran to this desolate place to celebrate the new year?" Qiu Yongxi said to the Carpiao, torn between laughter and tears. "I really can't figure it out." The Carpiao replied, "That's right, there isn't even a fish." With this reminder, Qiu Yongxi thought of something, and he asked, "That's right? Then what should we do for may every year be plentiful?" The Carpiao, Origin and Lu Su sat across from each other, neither of them uttering a single word. Origin's grip was strong, and as soon as his fingers squeezed a chestnut, its shell cracked. He then tossed it to Lu Su, who peeled it easily. "Lu Su," Origin said, "you're still angry at me." In the mural, only upon hearing Hung Jun talk about it did Origin realize that the reason Lu Su was following him the entire way was actually to beg him to come here to save himself. And the Grey Wolf, at one point in time, had also become the last hope of Lu Su trapped in the mural. "I made a wish before," Lu Su said, nonchalantly. "While they weren't paying attention, I went to Amitabha's Pure Land to make the wish." "What did you wish for?" Origin lifted his gaze to watch him. "What I wished for, was that whoever came to rescue me, I would go with him for the rest of my life." Lu Su lowered his head, looking at the white chestnut in his hand, before casually tossing them into the basket. Origin. Lu Su lifted his gaze, watching him without saying anything. "At that time, I didn't know," Origin said. "Now you know," Lu Su replied. Origin said quietly, "Lu Su, the purpose of my life was to find you." Lu Su said, "I don't give a shit about whatever purpose, either way, in the end you didn't come." Origin replied, "Putting it like that is unfair. I didn't know it was you." "Then how did Hung Jun know?" Lu Su shot back. Origin squeezed the chestnuts so hard they made cracking noises as he frowned. "This is unfair." Lu Su continued, "You only came to find me because I was the reincarnation of the white deer, isn't that right? Whether I'm the white deer, or someone else was, it's all the same to you." Origin said, "It's not the same, that's not the same, Lu Su." He stared at Lu Su, feeling as if he was stuffed full of words that he wanted to say, but without knowing why, when the words got to his mouth, he couldn't give voice to them. "Origin, I thought that the white deer was a pretty girl." "I'm not pretty, nor am I a girl," Lu Su replied. Origin said, "I imagined that perhaps she didn't know that she was the white deer, and after I came, I would love her well and protect her." Lu Su raised an eyebrow, indicating for Origin to hurry up and open the chestnut in his hand. He had already been waiting for half a day now. Origin could only toss him the chestnut, before continuing. "But on this journey, everything happened so fast that I couldn't think it through clearly. I never imagined the possibility that us two would, both be men, and I never imagined that you were the white deer." "What exactly do you want to say?" Lu Su asked. "Us two, we're destined to be together." Origin finally eked out that sentence. "How come I didn't know that?" Lu Su asked, looking askance at him. "Who wants to be fated to be with you?" Amorigin said, otherwise, why would you go to Yulin to find me? Back then my brain was confused. Lu Su said. Now I'm clear-headed, all right. Amorigin finally couldn't bear it any longer either. What do you mean? I also put my life on the line to come save you, and you can't, just because the one who brought you out in the end was Hung Jun, you. Yo, you two are peeling so many chestnuts, how many dishes are you making? Ashinakayang's hands were covered with flour as he studied that entire wooden bucket full of chestnuts in front of the two of them. Shut up. Lu Su and Amorigin said as one, before Lu Su rose and left. Hung Jun was in the middle of sleeping when he was woken by the sound of a chicken struggling mightily outside, right before it was about to meet its death. Li Jinglong had never killed a chicken before, and now he held down that chicken, slicing its neck open to let the blood out. But he hadn't sliced the right spot, instead causing that chicken to screech wildly, slapping its wings, its head hanging half off as it ran around, dripping blood everywhere. Irritated, Hung Jun roared, "Can you be a little quieter?" He opened his eyes, blearily walking to the railings, only to see Li Jinglong one story lower chasing that chicken around. Instantly, he sent a throwing knife flying that way, and with a goo, the chicken toppled over on the ground, and peace was finally restored to the world. Both of Li Jinglong's hands were covered in blood, and he immediately raised his head. Hung Jun. Hung Jun vanished on the third story, and Li Jinglong raced up, but Hung Jun went down to the second floor to pick up that chicken, so Li Jinglong followed him down again. Their gazes met for a moment, and Li Jinglong felt a little ill at ease. "What do you want?" Hung Jun frowned. "It's the new year," Li Jinglong replied. Hung Jun nodded at that, but didn't make a sound. Li Jinglong boiled some water, and in one of the side courtyards of the 9-story tower, he began to pluck the feathers from the chicken. Li Jinglong's right hand, from start to end, shook a little, as if he had been injured by that bite of Xiaoyu's last night, but his wound was in his meridians. Hung Jun debated it again and again, but in the end didn't ask the question he had. He couldn't resist observing Li Jinglong. These days, Li Jinglong seemed to sense that Hung Jun was keeping him at a distance, and now, Li Jinglong had become a little cautious, as if he was afraid that whatever he said would make Hung Jun angry. His eye socket still sported that bruise from Hung Jun's punch, and Hung Jun suddenly felt somewhat apologetic in his heart. "Still angry at me?" Li Jinglong asked, ducking his head and plucking the feathers. When Hung Jun heard this, he suddenly felt his heart ache a little. Li Jinglong continued, "It's me that's useless. Do you still feel unwell?" He raised his head to look at Hung Jun, and Hung Jun responded, "I'm feeling better now. Why are you so worried about me? It'd be better to worry over yourself instead." Li Jinglong turned the chicken over, continuing to pluck its feathers. "I can't even care about you." Hung Jun replied, "I can take care of myself." Li Jinglong suddenly said, "I'm afraid that you're feeling unwell, but you won't say anything to me. Even if it's Emorigin, Tagla, or in a bit, if I've guessed correctly, Chu Yangxi, you will have more to say to them than now." And saying this, he raised his head to look at Hung Jun again, saying, "Even if it's Lu Su, you're willing to talk to him. I don't understand, did I do something wrong?" Hung Jun watched Li Jinglong numbly. In that movement, he had an urge to tell him. But even if he said it, what use would that be? Li Jinglong had already forgotten the past, and after knowing, would he feel guilty? What should he say? "Actually, Lu Su and I met each other a very long time ago," Hung Jun replied. "He told me," Li Jinglong said mildly. "That's pretty good." And saying this, he flipped the chicken to the other side. Both of them watched that chicken being plucked of its feathers in Li Jinglong's hands. "Since you woke up that time," Li Jinglong said, "you've been angry at me, because I was hiding things from you, isn't that right?" "That's not it," Hung Jun replied. Li Jinglong pointed at his own bruised eye and turned his head, saying, "I'll let you punch me again here?" Gege only wants you not to be afraid, not for you to feel that you're causing trouble for everyone. That's really not it, Hung Jun insisted. Li Jinglong asked earnestly, then what exactly is the reason? Hung Jun stopped speaking again, and Li Jinglong kept plucking the chicken's feathers as he lowered his eyes, saying, "Hung Jun, do you think I'm smart?" "Very smart," Hung Jun replied. "You are the smartest person that I've seen. But I cannot guess why you're angry at me." Li Jinglong raised his eyes, looking towards Hung Jun, that gaze filled with confusion that caused heartache to the beholder. "I'm not angry at you," Hung Jun replied. "You are," Li Jinglong said. "Ever since you woke, you've become different. I confess, I am useless. Ever since the day we left Liangzhou City, as long as I've gotten one thing wrong, then I'll get the whole series wrong. I wish time could go backwards and return to that night. I shouldn't have gone out then." Hung Jun was silently thoughtful for a moment, before he said, "I'm going to leave." "Where to?" Li Jinglong asked in response. Hung Jun replied, "To go home." "Li Jinglong, I promised you before that I'd go with you to Yejin Palace." Hung Jun wanted to turn him down. He really had no way to let go of that scene that he had seen in his dreams. But he also couldn't say those words, so he could only maintain his silence. "Yo," Ashinakayang said, looking down from the second floor. "Surnamed Li, how long do you need to pluck this chicken's feathers for? It's plucked even cleaner than your guy's imperial consort's face." Li Jinglong. Hung Jun stood up and walked away. At that, Li Jinglong wanted nothing more than to go pick a fight with Ashinakayang. Chu Yongxi and the Carpiao sat side by side in front of a frozen river. A hole had been chiseled away in the ice, and they each held a fishing rod, trying to catch fish from that ice hole. The Carpiao asked, "Why is it that I, a fish, also has to come fish?" Chu Yongxi replied, "If not, then what? If we don't have fish for dinner on New Year's Eve, that's basically drawing bad luck to us. We can't just boil you, can we?" The Carpiao could only shut up. That night, Li Jinglong set the table. They were afraid of offending the Buddhas if they feasted in the Majao caves, so they moved to the furthest spot, where the painters usually gathered, to start their New Year's Eve feast. "How is he?" Amorigin asked Li Jinglong as he went forth as an extra pair of hands, helping him to move the table up. Li Jinglong's right hand still trembled a little. "He's still angry," Li Jinglong said. "I can't get the reason out of him. How about you?" Amorigin replied, "I haven't even figured it out myself." As they were speaking, Lu Su entered and glanced at the two of them, who immediately stopped. When Hung Jun smelled the food, he had already eaten nothing for a whole day and night, and he was so hungry that his heart was almost pressed against his back. What devil seed, what nightmares, what Yao, what devils, he tossed it all to the back of his head, and he hurriedly sat down. At that, Chu Yongxi laughed loudly and climbed onto Hung Jun's shoulders, and Hung Jun let out a loud shout, holding him down and trying to beat him up. "You've missed me so much." Chu Yongxi laughed. Hung Jun said, "You've also managed to make it." Chu Yongxi patted Hung Jun's back, warmly hugging him, saying, "Thankfully I've come in time." He then scooted so that his mouth was against Hung Jun's ear, and he quietly said a sentence. "Don't be afraid. No matter what happens, everyone will be with you. Hung Jun." He raised his head to look at Chu Yongxi, who gave him a warm, slight smile, before he turned and sat down in front of another table. Atai and Ashinakayang also came in, and Atai sent Hung Jun an ambiguous glance, which had Hung Jun chuckling. Everyone was treading delicately and did not bring up anything to do with the devil seed. Lu Su sat right next to Hung Jun, and Li Jinglong said, "Today, we've cooked quite a few dishes and there's no way to split them, so let's push the tables together, and everyone take what they need. Ba. Where's Zhao Zilong?" Hung Jun asked. Here, the Carpiao replied from the plate on the table. Everyone. The Carpiao laid on the plate and waved its tail. There were even some green onions, ginger, and garlic laid over it, and all that was lacking was steaming it until it was cooked. May every year be plentiful, I had to do something for this celebration. End chapter. Legend of Exorcism. Chapter 70. A pair of steeds in the snow. Li Jinglong personally poured out wine for everyone, saying, "For everyone to be gathered here somehow, is also the will of the heavens. And 2 new companions have come as well." Hung Jun leaned his body back a little, letting Li Jinglong pour wine for him. Lu Su watched expressionlessly from the side as the wine flowed into the bowl, clearly meaning, "Who are you calling your companion?" "Let's have a good year's end feast," Li Jinglong said, lifting his own bowl after he finished pouring out the wine. "Everyone, you've worked hard this year, cheers." The Carpiao immediately pulled a carp leaping out of the water and rose. Shaking off the green onion, ginger, and garlic adorning its body as it lifted a small bowl, it said, "Cheers." Li Jinglong then waited a moment, so the Carpiao drank its bowl first, before the rest of them all lifted their bowls and drained them in a single go. "Is your guys' custom to have the Carpiao drink first?" Ashinakayang asked. "It's everyone's oldest brother," Atai explained. The Carpiao said, "Everyone, eat ba, eat ba." Li Jinglong. With that, everyone lifted their chopsticks and dove in. Hung Jun had been so hungry for so long now that he didn't care if 3 and 7 made 21, and his chopsticks immediately headed to pick away at that chicken stewed with chestnuts. Li Jinglong didn't even wait for him to dive in before he picked up a drumstick with his chopsticks and gave it to Hung Jun. "I hadn't thought that so many things would happen this year," Chiu Yangxi said, smiling. "When we parted at Mt. Li, I thought that I'd never see you all again." Atai chuckled. "You brat, you came the latest, and you still have the nerve to say that." Origin asked, amused, "When are we going to Nightingale of the Spring Dawn again?" Everyone began to laugh. Ashinakayang asked Atai what this Nightingale of the Spring Dawn was, while Lu Su asked Hung Jun. Hung Jun's mouth was filled with food, so he indicated that he'd explain to Lu Su in a bit. After eating a little, Li Jinglong sighed and said, "After drinking this wine, everyone's going to leave again, right?" Chiu Yangxi hurried to say, "Not leaving, not leaving. Let's go back together." Li Jinglong. Chiu Yangxi explained, "We all know about Xiaoyu now, so I'll act together with the group." Atai replied, "I brought Kayang here with me this time, precisely because we were planning to head back to the exorcism department." Because Hung Jun had eaten a little, he finally felt alive again, and he asked, "Why's that?" Ashinakayang said, "We have no more money, all of it was spent by this prodigal son Atai. We're planning to go to your Chang'an to save up some money, otherwise we won't be able to revive our country, it'll all be spent by this prodigal son first." Everyone. Li Jinglong was torn between laughing and crying. "We of the exorcism department haven't saved up that much either over an entire year. Whenever we just casually use our skills, it always costs us a few thousand taels at a time." Ashinakayang said, "This, you shouldn't worry about, we have our own ways of making a living." Atai's face was set in a grieved expression. "They told me to go back to the exorcism department, so that it'd be easy to cling to Zenshi and make a few connections to do some small business." Everyone began to laugh again. "How about you?" Li Jinglong asked Lu Su. Lu Su glanced at Hung Jun, and Hung Jun looked at Origin. He knew that to Origin, the most important thing in his life was finding Lu Su. "Come back to the exorcism department with everyone ba," Hung Jun replied. Lu Su nodded at that. Origin let out a breath, nodding and smiling thankfully at Hung Jun. The Carpiao then said, "Cheers, cheers." "Eldest, your alcohol tolerance isn't very good," Li Jinglong hurried to say. "Let me drink for you." But the Carpiao insisted, so Li Jinglong could only down another bowl with everyone else. When the wine was in their bellies, aside from Lu Su, the rest of them all began to talk and laugh amongst themselves. Over this dinner, they talked about the past good chunk of the year, when they had fought back to back with each other. Gate crashing Pinkongli at night, fighting in Daming Palace, scheming at the grounds of the imperial examinations, and also being trapped by the nine-tailed heavenly fox in a mountain cave, when at last the power of Li Jinglong's heart lamp erupted, and everyone was able to escape. When Hung Jun listened to their past, he thought of that day, in the blood pool, when Li Jinglong had seen his ear that had been sliced. He couldn't resist lifting his eyes to look at him. Coincidentally, Li Jinglong's handsome face, looking a little tipsy, was also watching him. When their gazes met, Li Jinglong smiled gently. Li Jinglong pressed his left hand against his right arm, exercising his limb, saying, "You guys left as soon as you said you would, and when I brought Hung Jun all the way towards the northwest, I almost delivered up even my own head to Geshuhan." When Hung Jun thought about when the two of them were on the way here, he couldn't resist laughing. Origin said, "You guys were only sightseeing on that journey, ba?" "Sightseeing?" Li Jinglong said. "This young master wasn't used to riding a horse, so he really gave me a lot of trouble." Hung Jun couldn't resist thinking of when Li Jinglong had applied medicine for him. He could only sit there, his face bright red, yet still he didn't follow up with that sentence. Li Jinglong had asked everyone if they were returning to the exorcism department, but the only person he hadn't asked was Hung Jun. Perhaps, in his eyes, he was the one that would never leave. The Carpiao had drunk too much, and it wobbled and toppled over on the table. When they had all drunk 3 rounds, Li Jinglong said, "After drinking this bowl, let's not drink any more." Everyone once again raised their cups. Upon seeing that Lu Su didn't really want to drink, Hung Jun said, "I'll drink for you." But instead, Origin took the bowl, saying, "I'll drink it." Lu Su took a look at Origin. Upon hearing everyone talk about these matters that had built such friendships, he began to yearn for it, and he asked Hung Jun, "That was all real?" Hung Jun froze for a moment and thought, before he ended. "Is Chang'an nice?" Lu Su asked. "It only snows in the winter," Hung Jun explained. "It's a good place." Origin said, "Chang'an is very beautiful. When we take you back to the exorcism department, you'll like it?" Origin kept answering Lu Su every now and then, without any deeper meaning to it. Lu Su was already no longer as withdrawn as before, and upon hearing those words, he nodded slightly. Coming to Hexi this time, Li Jinglong said, putting down his bowl of wine and thinking. He suddenly said, "The thing that worried me the most was that devil seed in Hung Jun's body." With these words, silence fell over the entire banquet. Hung Jun was basically finished, and he put down his chopsticks, fixing his stare on Li Jinglong. "Hung Jun," Li Jinglong continued, "no one here has ever given you the cold shoulder, and we've all put our lives on the line for the same things before." Hung Jun looked at the gathered group. Chu Yangxi smiled. "In the blood pool, it was you and Zhenqi who saved me." Origin replied, "If it wasn't for you two, everyone would have long since finished up and parted ways." Tai added, "Remember that time when we had to go find this group of idiots together?" Hung Jun smiled. "I remember." Li Jinglong said, "You gave me the heart lamp, so if it wasn't for you, I'd only be immortal today." When Hung Jun heard these words, he dodged Li Jinglong's gaze. Lu Su suddenly said, "Many things, invisibly and incomprehensibly, have happened because of the will of the heavens." "The will of the heavens," Li Jinglong said. "Not bad. Hung Jun, perhaps the heart lamp ended up in my body also because of this." As before, Hung Jun didn't respond. Li Jinglong continued, "Either way, you should know that no one here will give you the cold shoulder, and no one here is worried that you carry the devil seed in your body. In the future, whatever you're supposed to do, you should keep doing. Everyone will slowly come up with a plan with you, to extract this devil seed. Chu Yangxi said, I imagine this is really the will of the heavens, Hung Jun. And exactly because of this, we have hope to win against Mara. Hung Jun nodded. At that, Li Jinglong smiled and said, Hung Jun, if there's anything you want to say, then say it, don't keep it inside. All right, Hung Jun said, also smiling. I got it. Last bowl. Li Jinglong once again raised his bowl. Lu Su drank with them, while A Tai said, this is really the last bowl. Let me play my barbet ba. Chu Yangxi said, my cousin composed a poem, it's quite an excellent one. Come, let me sing it for you all. Of course, everyone listened with the utmost attention. A Tai gently strummed the barbet a few times, and Chu Yangxi sang, chivalrous swordsmen of the Yanzhou region, bear the warrior's tassel in their hair, their sharp swords are as bright as frosty snow. They ride white horses with reins of silver, and they gallop across the streets like meteors in the sky. When he heard this poem, Hung Jun once again forgot everything else as he thought, a human actually managed to write this poem. Able to kill a person in 10 steps, and no one can stop their journey of 1,000 li. After accomplishing their duty, they hide even their name, so no one will know them. Everyone cheered at the same time. Great. This is Li Bai's poem ba. Hung Jun said. Everyone let out angered roars, telling Hung Jun not to interrupt. Chu Yangxi only kept singing, grinning as he did. That poem very much roused the spirits, and the listeners at the table were all spellbound. When it got to be a human, one should be like them, their names remembered for all eternity, praised by all to come. Who would be willing to be a scholar like Yang Xiang, authoring 100 volumes, yet dying of old age under a window? The lute stopped, and the sound of a needle falling to the floor could be heard. The poet is precisely Li Bai, Chu Yangxi said. Li Bai is your cousin? Li Jinglong asked strangely. When Hung Jun heard these words, he was immediately speechless. Chu Yangxi replied, that's right. The entire table was astounded, but what shocked Hung Jun even more was Li Jinglong's next words. How come I never heard him talk about it? Li Jinglong asked, as if to himself. Next time I run into him I'll have to ask, you'd better not be randomly claiming relatives. Ask away, Chu Yangxi smiled. You know him? Hung Jun asked Li Jinglong, surprised. This was the first time in so many days that Hung Jun had spoken of his own accord to Li Jinglong. Li Jinglong smiled tipsily, studying Hung Jun, nodding thoughtfully. Next time he comes to Chang'an, I'll arrange a time so that he can keep you company and chat with you for a bit. Li Jinglong asked. Hung Jun. Li Jinglong actually knew Li Bai? And he had never mentioned it? Brother Taibei likes to drink wine, and we met each other while drinking before, and we figured out then we were distant clan relatives, Li Jinglong replied, chuckling. A pity that I didn't learn much of poetry from him, because we spent all our money on drawings, wine, tea, and food instead. Li Jinglong was indeed established as someone who knew how to eat, how to play, and how to enjoy things. Though Chu Yangxi was born to a famous Han family, he still fell just short. He held his chopsticks and dipped them lightly in his tea, saying, my cousin is very insistent on affinity, but for Hung Jun, well, I imagine he'll agree to a meeting. Hung Jun said, if there's a chance, let me go meet him. Sure, Li Jinglong replied. I'll promise you now, I'll go beg him to do it, and if he doesn't agree, then I'll kneel down and kowtow. If that doesn't work still, I'll go ask His Majesty, and if nothing else works, then I'll tie him up and bring him. I'll make sure that you manage to see him, and I won't eat my words. Everyone laughed at that. Hung Jun grew very embarrassed by those words, and he recalled how Li Jinglong had always treated him so well, agreeing to his demands regardless of any conditions. As long as Li Jinglong could do it, he had never refused Hung Jun. I also have an uncle once removed, Chu Yongxi continued. Want to hear about him? Hung Jun asked. There's more. Leaving home when I was young and returning when I am old, though the accents of my hometown have not changed, my hair has already gone white. The children see me but do not know who I am, and they smile and ask where this traveler has come from. Isn't that he Zhai's hang? Stop pasting more gold onto your face. You just keep boasting ba. The rest of them kept jeering at Chu Yongxi, who protested, he's really my uncle. Hung Jun almost laughed himself to death. Chu Yongxi continued, his face in an expression of innocence, saying, my relatives are poets, what of it? Atai played for a while, before Li Jinglong said, play a spring night on the flower-filled, moonlit river ba. After a few days, we'll be going back to Chang'an, and I, for one, have grown pretty tired of this place. At that, Atai said, okay. Li Jinglong poured out the rest of the wine for himself and scooted over, sitting down by Hung Jun's side. He leaned against him and reached out an arm, putting it around Hung Jun's shoulders. Everyone then, with the music of the lute, sang a spring night on the flower-filled, moonlit river. Hung Jun couldn't help but think of the first time that Li Jinglong had brought them to Nightingale of the Spring Dawn. That day, they had sat side by side next to the screen, quietly leaning against each other, singing this song. When we get back, where do you want to go play? Li Jinglong leaned a little closer to Hung Jun, asking that question quietly in his ear. His words were a little slurred. Hung Jun replied, I haven't decided yet. He was a little drunk, and he said to Li Jinglong, you're a bastard. Li Jinglong smiled. How am I a bastard? Tell me about it. Hung Jun didn't speak, instead, he began to burrow into Li Jinglong's embrace, as if that mass of blazingly hot light in his chest turned Hung Jun into a moth flying to the flame. He leaned on Li Jinglong's chest, below his shoulder. For a moment, sorrow filled his entire chest, but his consciousness slowly grew blurred, and he slipped down. The music from the lute slowly came to an end, and Atai put it away. Li Jinglong nodded towards them, indicating that they keep going, before he picked up Hung Jun in his arms and climbed up the stairs to settle him down for bed. Lu Su watched the silhouette of Li Jinglong's back as he sat there, in a daze. Half of Emorigin's body was slumped on the table, and his head was turned to the side so he could look at Lu Su. Let me tell you something, Emorigin said quietly. Lu Su sent Emorigin a single glance. Aside from Hung Jun, he basically didn't speak to anyone else. Zhenqi likes him, Emorigin said. He was also a little drunk, and he waggled his eyebrows at Lu Su. But Zhenqi won't admit it. Everyone can already see it. Lu Su appraised Emorigin, and quietly, he responded, what does this have to do with you? The arm that Emorigin had on the table twitched a little, and his palm spread open a little as he replied, it has nothing to do with me. Sometimes, when I see the two of them, my heart is happy, sometimes, when I see the two of them, my heart is sad. As he spoke, his voice got softer and softer, and he asked, do you understand that feeling? To have someone like Hung Jun following him around every day, and when he looks at him, his eyes are full of smiles, just like that, you see. Emorigin began to smile, his eyes shining with affection. With that look, you know that I am in your heart, and you are in mine. What a good life that is. The Carpiao suddenly leapt up, scaring Lu Su so much that he almost upended his bowl. Emorigin was torn between laughter and tears, and he stroked the Carpiao, saying, oh well, eldest bro, and I will go sleep now. Happy New Year, Lu Su. Brothers. Emorigin said. Happy New Year. And saying this, Emorigin held the Carpiao cupped in his hands as he bowed to Atai, then to Chu Yongxi. The rest of them also stood up and bowed to each other, and when Atai came over to bow he also reached out as he passed to hook a finger under Lu Su's chin. Morigin hurried to chase Atai around the entire hall, kicking him as he went, but Lu Su, his face wooden, went upstairs to sleep. In the room, Li Jinglong had Hung Jun lay down so he was sleeping well, before he tucked a blanket around him, saying quietly, "Tonight, I won't keep you company as you sleep. I need to write a letter to the Crown Prince." And saying this, he placed a red envelope under Hung Jun's pillow, closing the door as he left. Hung Jun opened his eyes. His head hurt a little, and he heard Ashinakayang and Atai outside heyoing as they took turns singing the next line of a song. He reached out and felt under his pillow, pulling out the red envelope. When he opened it and looked inside, there was a note for 100 liang of silver. Hung Jun silently rose, tucking the red envelope into the front of his robes. He put on his cloak and quietly tiptoed out the door. The heavy snow danced through the air, each individual snowflake making up a mass that blanketed the land. Every cavern of the Majao caves was lit with altar lamps, which shone brightly. Their brilliance shone through the snowy night, like a celestial realm. "Happy New Year, brothers," Hung Jun said quietly, leading his horse along, wearing a cloak that fell to his knees. He then mounted his horse, circled around behind the 9-story tower, and left the Majao caves along the path to the southeast. "It's snowing." Morigin shouted towards the upper and lower floors, as he leaned against the railings. "The Yaogwai are coming." Ashinakayang had drunkenly wandered outside to relieve himself. As he stood in the snow, he suddenly saw a trail of hoof prints that led into the distance. "Who's coming?" Ashinakayang hollered as he peed. They had all gone back to their rooms to sleep, with only Li Jinglong and Chu Yangxi staying up as per tradition to guard the year. When they heard the shouts, they too came out to take a look. Li Jinglong suddenly remembered what Hung Jun had said during the day, and he instantly ran back to Hung Jun's room. But when he pushed open the door, the room was completely empty. Over the snowy fields, Hung Jun's horse galloped past. Just as he had ridden along the Great Wall for 5 li, a shout came to him in the wind. "Hung Jun dash!" Li Jinglong shouted loudly. Hung Jun turned and glanced back. Upon seeing Li Jinglong chasing after him, he hurried to spur his horse onwards, increasing its speed. "Hung Jun!" Li Jinglong roared. Li Jinglong was wearing a single layer of inner robes underneath, and had haphazardly wrapped a fur robe around that. He had the sword of wisdom belted to his waist as he shoved his feet into boots and came chasing after. Hung Jun hid himself in a patch of woods, and he held his horse's reins as he peeked out from within the trees. "Hung Jun! Where are you?" Li Jinglong came rushing back, and he dismounted, reading the tracks on the ground. Hung Jun's body was covered with snow, and he was one with the trees. In the dark night, Li Jinglong couldn't see him, and the sha-sha of the heavy snow muffled his breathing. After searching for a long while, Li Jinglong got back on his horse and kept racing forward. Hung Jun then mounted his horse in the grove and changed directions, heading due east. The heavy snow slowly stopped falling, and the sun rose. As Hung Jun was blown by the wind, he had long since woken from the alcohol-induced stupor. He kept galloping along, unburdened by anything, his mind completely blank. In this vast space between the heavens and earth, everywhere he could see was sheet white. He passed through a valley and remembered what his companions had said last night. His heart suddenly filled with loneliness and despair, and another idea came to him: should he turn around and go back to them? He slowed, but he hadn't expected that someone would actually appear from around the corner. "Hung Jun! Where are you going?" Li Jinglong had clearly taken up a position here before he arrived. Hung Jun didn't want to see him the most, and with a chia, he rushed away again. "Don't go!" Li Jinglong shouted. "Go back ba!" Hung Jun turned his head and called back. Li Jinglong mounted his horse, chasing Hung Jun through the valley. Hung Jun kept going, faster and faster, and Li Jinglong shouted from behind, "Slow down. I'm not going to force you to go back. Talk to me." But Hung Jun didn't slow. The sun rose, and Li Jinglong kept chasing him even as the sun climbed to the height of 3 bamboo poles, and the sides of the road were robed in the silver and white of a snowy landscape. "I'll stop chasing you," Li Jinglong shouted from behind. "Don't rush. Slow down a little. If you keep running like this, your horse may be able to hold out, but you won't." Hung Jun had been jolted around the entire time, and now he was extremely tired. From last night until now, he had run for almost 6 whole shishan, and his body was a little unable to hold up. His horse slowed, even as he put some distance between himself and Li Jinglong. Li Jinglong didn't speak either, instead following along behind Hung Jun far away. When Hung Jun sped up, so did he. When Hung Jun slowed, he did so as well. When Hung Jun stopped, he too stopped, but he didn't approach him. The sun set, and Hung Jun turned his head, shouting, "Go back ba." But Li Jinglong didn't reply. He kept following along like this, and Hung Jun remembered that he himself had the phoenix plume, and was not afraid of the chill of this icy world, but Li Jinglong didn't have it. Since he had chased him for this long, until twilight, perhaps he was going to get sick again. Hung Jun's brain felt as if it was filled with glue. He wanted to return to the Taihang Mountains and get an answer from Qing Xiang and Chongming. That day, it had been Qing Xiang who had brought him away, so he must have told Chongming what had happened. But he was also afraid that this matter was just like what the Ghost King had said. All of this was something that Chongming had set into motion, and he was nothing more than a sacrificial offering meant to replace his father. He was also filled with horror. If on that day, when Qing Xiang had taken him away, Li Jinglong was also present, how was he supposed to bear it? All of the things that he depended on would all be shattered when the truth was mercilessly revealed. Hung Jun slowed. The sun sank below the horizon, and the entire sky was filled with stars as the curtain of night fell. He had already run for a day and a night, and Li Jinglong had followed him for that day and night. When Hung Jun turned back to look, he found that Li Jinglong's silhouette was no longer behind him. He's gone back, he thought, but he suddenly sensed that something was off. He hurried to turn his horse around, galloping in the direction that he had come from. In the middle of the road, the horse had run to one side, trembling. Li Jinglong had collapsed to the ground on his side, looking like a corpse. "Zenchi!" Hung Jun shouted anxiously, vaulting off his horse when it was some 10 paces or so away, quickly running over. Li Jinglong's body was covered with snow, and his palms were icy as he lay curled up in a ball. Hung Jun immediately turned him over and said, "Zenchi." But he didn't expect for Li Jinglong to suddenly reach out a hand and hook it around Hung Jun's shoulders. Just as Hung Jun was about to break free, Li Jinglong pulled him down and used that momentum to get up. "Stop. You, stop, for me. You stop dash." Hung Jun didn't stop struggling as he and Li Jinglong wrestled each other in the snow. Li Jinglong exerted all of the energy in his body, pulling Hung Jun to the ground, before he came down on top of him with all of his weight. He grabbed Hung Jun's wrists, forcefully twisting them behind his back, before sitting down on his stomach, pinning him firmly in place. "Why didn't you wait for me?" Li Jinglong grew enraged, and he roared at Hung Jun. "What did I do wrong this time?" That was the first time Li Jinglong turned the real force of his anger on him. Hung Jun subconsciously pulled a hand free and pulled out a throwing knife, but his wrist was once again grabbed firmly by Li Jinglong. "You hate me, don't you?" Li Jinglong said, his voice trembling. "The way I have treated you, I have no regrets about. Yet you hate me so, why?" The hand that had grabbed Hung Jun's wrist kept trembling, before Li Jinglong let go and said, "You want to take my life? Is it because you're a Yao, and I'm a human? Because I killed your kinsman?" "No, no," Hung Jun panted. "Come. Li Jinglong roared at Hung Jun, as if he had lost all reason. Do it! Stab your knife right here. I'll return the heart lamp to you. You take it dash. Hung Jun watched Li Jinglong mutely. Li Jinglong's eyes were bright red, tears welling up in them. Without giving Hung Jun time to react, his left hand kept tugging away his outer robe and the shirt underneath, revealing his bare chest. He grabbed Hung Jun's wrist, along with the throwing knife in that hand, pressing it onto his own chest. The heavens and the earth, the desolate wilderness, the snowy plains, the starry river, everything in the world was silent. There was only the sound of their breaths intermingling, like the gentle ebb and flow of the tides immemorial. Hung Jun saw that on the left side of Li Jinglong's chest, there was tattooed a graceful peacock, its feathers splayed on display. Li Jinglong couldn't stop sobbing, his tears landing on Hung Jun's face. In that instant, the grief in Hung Jun's heart could no longer be contained. He let go of the throwing knife, which landed with a light sound in the snow. Li Jinglong released his grip and let go of Hung Jun, who hugged Li Jinglong from the side, burying his face in his shoulder, beginning to sob loudly. End chapter.